Yo, what is up, fam? First off, I'm gonna start this video by saying good morning. For me, the time is 5:04 in the morning. So, good morning to all my subscribers. You guys said you wanted another video before 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm recording at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But that's besides the point. You already know what this video is just by looking at the thumbnail. What if Naruto and Sasuke was sent to the Highschool DxD Universe Part 10? Like goal for the video is going to be 5 likes as usual. Hit that like goal, you'll get another video faster. Subscribe while you're at it. But without further ado, let's just get into this intro so we can start this what if. The tension in the Occult Research Club's meeting room was suffocating, pressing against the walls like a physical force. The once comfortable space, adorned with red curtains, finely polished furniture, and the ever-glowing warm hues of candlelight, now felt more like a courtroom, no, a battlefield. The chairs were arranged in a wide semicircle around a coffee table, but no one sat. Standing on one side were Rias Gremory and her peerage, Kiba, Akeno, Kaneko, and Issei. On the other stood Riser Phoenix, flanked by his harem of devilish women, all proud, all beautiful, all unnervingly confident. At the room's center stood Graphia Lucifuge, her arms folded, silver eyes cold and impassive as they flicked from one faction to the other. Her presence alone forced the room to maintain some semblance of order, but only barely. The tension between Rias and Riser was on the verge of erupting into something that decorum could no longer contain. Rias stood firm, every inch of her posture defiant. She was dressed formally, her Gremory house uniform pristine, hair immaculately brushed, and the family crest subtly pinned to her breast. But beneath the elegance, fury simmered. Her eyes burned with red indignation, not fear, as she stood inches from Riser, glaring up at him like a queen refusing to kneel. "I will not marry you," she said, her voice low and deliberate, "because I do not love you." Riser scoffed, brushing a strand of golden hair from his shoulder with mock arrogance. "Love? How quaint. This is about uniting two powerful houses, not fairy tales. Or did you truly believe love matters when it comes to noble contracts?" "You don't love me either, Riser," she snapped back, her voice rising slightly. "You don't see me. You see the name Gremory, the political advantage, the symbol. You don't give a damn about who I am." "I see a beautiful woman, a noble woman, a devil of class and stature. What else do I need to see?" Riser replied smugly, his amber eyes gleaming. "You think someone will love you and still be strong enough to bear your name and fight in your stead? Be serious, Rias. This is the underworld, not some human romance novel." Issei clenched his fist beside her, but said nothing. The memory of the night before still haunted him. Rias appearing at his room unannounced, dressed in little more than her vulnerability, asking, pleading in her own way. But the moment had been too sudden, too raw. He hadn't touched her. He couldn't. And then Graphia had appeared, her eyes colder than the edge of a blade, and the moment shattered. Now that failure seemed to weigh heavily between them. Rias' expression tightened. You don't have the right to decide who I give myself to. Funny, Riser said with a slow grin. I thought that was exactly what this was about. My right to claim you, as agreed upon by both our families. It seems you're the only one forgetting the terms of your life. Akeno flinched at his words, her lips curling into a subtle scowl. Kiba remained still, a hand near the hilt of his sword, eyes flicking from Riser to Graphia, awaiting permission to intervene should it be needed. But it was Rias who moved first, her head lifted, chin tilting upward in a sudden gesture of arrogant pride, and then, with a cold edge to her voice that stunned even her own peerage, she declared, I will not marry you because I already have a man that I intend to marry. Silence. Not a breath stirred the room. Even the flames and the candles seemed to hesitate. Graphia blinked, visibly stunned. Akeno looked sharply to her side. Kaneko narrowed her eyes, and Kiba's grip on his sword loosened slightly, unsure of what this meant. Issei's mouth fell open, a sharp twist of confusion and pain striking his gut. You what? Riser's voice finally broke the stillness. Rias smiled faintly, but it was the smile of a predator, a noble woman finally seizing control of her own fate. I already have someone I love, someone far beyond anything you could ever hope to be, someone I intend to marry. Graphia narrowed her eyes slightly. Rias, what are you doing? Riser stared at her in disbelief, before throwing his head back and laughing. You expect me to believe that? Who is this mysterious suitor? He turned, theatrically, pointing to Kiba. Is it your knight? Your little pretty boy with the sad eyes. He's loyal, I'll give him that. But he can't even scratch me, much less protect you. He stepped toward Issei next, his sneer deepening. Or is it this pathetic pawn, the one who absorbed all 8 of your pawn pieces and still gets beaten like a mutt? Your human project? Riser leaned closer, his voice taunting. Tell me, Rias, who is this man you speak of? I'd like to meet him, maybe burn the skin from his bones for daring to touch what is mine. Rias's eyes glittered with triumph. His name, she said, is Sasuke. The name dropped like a thunderclap. Riser blinked. Who? Kiba and Akeno both looked at Rias, shocked. Kaneko's ears twitched in barely concealed alarm. Issei opened his mouth as if to argue, but stopped, unsure whether it was anger or heartbreak swelling in his chest. Graphia, ever composed, took a slow breath. You're serious, she said, more a statement than question. Rias, this man, Sasuke, do you understand what kind of fire you're playing with? I do, Rias replied without hesitation. You're invoking the name of an outsider, Graphia warned quietly, her voice low enough that only those closest to them could hear. And not just any outsider, someone beyond the laws of our world. Do you intend to drag him into our political war? If it means my freedom, Ria said, stepping forward, then yes, I will. Riser, oblivious to the quiet exchange, scoffed. Sasuke, was it? Never heard of him. Another low-born mongrel. How pathetic. Graphia's eyes shimmered with something close to pity for Riser. I would like to summon him, Ria said, facing Graphia directly. Please, bring Sasuke to the Occult Research Club room. Now. Graphia hesitated. Her expression didn't change, but the stillness of her body betrayed her inner thoughts. This girl is about to unleash something far beyond her control. Still, her orders were clear. Without another word, she raised her hand, a magic circle forming beneath her feet in an elegant spin of glowing silver. Very well, she said. But remember, Lady Rias, once he walks through that door, there is no putting this back in the box. And then, in a burst of light and wind, she vanished. The moment she left, murmurs erupted among Riser's harem. Most of them were beautiful women in tailored devilwear, confident and dismissive, but even they seemed unsettled by Rias' strange confidence. Who is this Sasuke? One of them asked. Probably another of her little pets, another smirked. I hope he's cute, a third chuckled, tossing her hair. If I get bored with Riser, maybe I'll try him out. Rias ignored them. She had no interest in banter or meaningless insult. Her heart was beating too fast, her thoughts too focused. This wasn't just a bluff. She was playing with fate, with fire that could burn her alive or set her free. Kiba moved beside her and whispered, Rias, are you sure this is the right way? I don't care if it is the right way, she whispered back. It's my way. The inviting aroma of pork broth and sizzling noodles wafted through the cozy confines of the ramen shop, tucked into a quiet corner of Kuo. Naruto sat at the far booth, his spiky blonde hair gleaming under the warm lights, one hand stirring the noodles in his bowl, while the other rested comfortably around Rainer's waist. She was seated sideways on his lap, her head leaned against his shoulder, a soft smile playing on her lips. Across from them sat Sasuke, reclined lazily against the booth's backrest. His lone arm rested on the table, fingers laced with Tsubaki's, who sat beside him, her expression serene yet curious. Kalwiner, ever the bold one, was straddled over his lap, arms lazily slung around his neck, as she occasionally nuzzled into his cheek, whispering flirtatious nonsense. It was a tranquil, intimate moment for the group, a rare reprieve from chaos, but even peace had its limits. The door to the shop swung open, silently, though it might as well have been a thunderclap to the men seated inside. Naruto's cerulean eyes shifted toward the entrance well before the door even moved, and Sasuke's Rinnegan flickered briefly in quiet acknowledgement. Even Rainer and Kalwiner, despite their more casual demeanor, tensed ever so slightly. Graphia Lucifuge stepped through the threshold, her expression cool and professional, but the faintest hint of unease touched her steel eyes as they swept over the scene. She hadn't expected this. Tsubaki, here, sitting calmly with one of the top 5 most dangerous beings in this dimension, and from the look on her face, she wasn't under duress. She looked content. Naruto didn't move at first. He met Graphia's gaze and asked bluntly, "What do you want?" Graphia hesitated. She had already decided not to reveal Rias' foolish gambit. If she did, there was a good chance neither of them would come. "You're needed for a meeting with Rias," she said, choosing her words carefully. Naruto groaned audibly and leaned back, drawing a pout from Rainier. "Again?" Sasuke exhaled heavily through his nose as Tsubaki tilted her head. Calwarner just scowled. "She better not waste our time again," Sasuke muttered. Rainier frowned and huffed. "Every time we deal with these devils, it's some kind of melodramatic shit show." Calwarner nodded, arms tightening around Sasuke's neck. "And they never say thank you." Tsubaki gave a small smile. "We should go, though. Grafia wouldn't come unless it was important." Naruto sighed, then gave Rainier a quick squeeze, and in a blink of an eye, he vanished in a body flicker, Rainier disappearing with him. Sasuke looked up at Grafia. "Try not to waste our time." Calendar leaned back, resting her forehead against Sasuke's as Tsubaki quietly held his hand. Then, with a subtle pulse of power, all three of them vanished. Grafia allowed herself a slow breath before activating a magic circle and returning to the ORC. The moment Naruto and Rainier appeared in the occult research club room, all eyes turned toward them. Riser, who had been prowling near the center of the room with arrogant strides, paused. He looked Naruto over dismissively. "So this is Sasuke?" Riser drawled. Before Naruto could respond, Rias stepped forward. "No," she said calmly, though her voice was taut. She gestured towards a space. Just another flicker of movement announced Sasuke's arrival. He appeared with Calwarner clinging comfortably to him and Tsubaki by his side, their presence commanding the entire room. Rias lifted her chin slightly. "That's Sasuke, the one with the black hair." Riser looked Sasuke over, eyes drifting from his hidden Rinnegan to his missing arm. Then he laughed. "Really? Him? That's who you chose? Look at him, one arm. He's a cripple. What could he possibly do for you? How is he supposed to protect you?" Grafia had returned by now, standing close to Rias with a gaze that screamed silent warning. Naruto's face remained neutral, but he asked calmly, "Why are we here again?" That was Rias's cue. She stepped forward, voice trying to remain firm. "I told Riser that I won't marry him because I'm already with Sasuke, but he refuses to believe me." Without warning, she turned towards Sasuke, stepping up to him. The room seemed to freeze. Sasuke's expression didn't change as she leaned in, her lips aiming for his. But she never made it. Calwarner was already there, one hand pressed against Ria's chest, shoving her back with surprising force. "Don't touch what doesn't belong to you," Calwarner hissed, venom in her voice. The others, Naruto, Rainier, Tsubaki, even Sasuke, looked at Rias with varying degrees of disdain. Then Sasuke spoke, his voice as cold as the winter wind. "You are not my girlfriend. I barely like you as a person. That's why I don't associate with you. You scheme, you're manipulative. You try to take what you want, no matter what the cost is. No sane human being would want to be with a narcissistic woman like you. When you don't get what you want, you throw tantrums and try to gaslight others." Rias's face fell, the colors draining from her cheeks. Her peerage fidgeted, looking at each other, but unable to muster a defense. Even Gracia remained silent. Riser, however, laughed, and he laughed loudly. "What a pathetic little attempt," he said mockingly, turning away from Rias. "You embarrassed yourself, Rias." Then his attention shifted. For the first time, he noticed the woman around Naruto and Sasuke. He sneered. "And who thought it was a good idea to bring Sona's queen? What, has she finally decided to spread her legs for Riser? And these filthy crows, what are they doing here? This place is already contaminated with weak humans. Now you bring in actual garbage?" The air changed. Cold. Oppressive. The temperature seemed to drop several degrees as a presence heavier than gravity itself fell over the room. Naruto stepped forward, his voice low and icy. "Say it again. I don't think I heard you." Riser swallowed. Sasuke tilted his head, Rinnegan flashing ominously. "Go on," he said softly. "You were confident before. What changed?" Before Riser could even think, Naruto vanished from his spot and appeared in front of him. His hand clamped over Riser's smug face and drove him down into the polished wooden floor with a thunderous crash. Wood cracked. The floor splintered. Naruto's tone remained calm, but fury radiated from him like solar flares. "We could kill you with zero effort, yet you dare call my perfect girlfriend filth, when she's stronger than you could ever dream of being." Riser groaned, trying to push himself up, but Sasuke's Rinnegan pulsed. His hair moved from his line of sight as he raised a hand. Almighty push! The force hit Riser like a meteor, driving him deeper into the floor. Groaning as cracks spidered out from beneath him, no one moved. No one breathed. Naruto turned and looked at Gracia. "Next time, tell us the truth, or don't bother." Rainier slipped her arm around his, and Calendar did the same with Sasuke. Tsubaki looked at Rias once more, pity in her eyes. Then she followed the others as they all vanished. The room remained silent. Riser lay broken in the floor, and Rias simply stood there, shattered by her own games. Gracia closed her eyes. "You were warned," she whispered. But guys, I'm going to end it off right there. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you at it. But without further ado, I am out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay blessed, y'all.